All right, good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce a longtime sponsor of the Almond Conference. Borrell has been sponsoring as a gold sponsor for 15 years, which is pretty remarkable, and we're grateful for that. Borrell takes the lead in providing a comprehensive almond processing solution. So it's everything from the hulling and the shelling to the sorting and the blanching. And today we're fortunate to have Charles Boddy here with us. He's a sales manager at Borrell. He is going to share some insights into how Borrell's innovative designs and technology not only enhance efficiency, but they also help conserve resources. So let's extend a warm welcome to Charles Boddy.
Thank you very much. Okay, so my name is Charles Boddy. I am the Global Sales Manager for Borrell. I have been now with the company for 29 years, and I'd like to make a presentation today about how design and technology can lead to greater efficiency and yield. Now, yield obviously is the one thing that everybody's concerned about. So it's something we want to pay special attention to today in this presentation, and I'd like to cover that with some slides and a short video as well. So if you could play the first video, please. Okay, well, talking about efficiency and technology, we're starting off with a slide here that shows two sides of the coin. We've got one of our emblematic Borrell separators from just over 100 years ago in 1922, and the newer version here, 2023. Now, what can you see in the picture on the left that's striking? Apart from the fact that the machine's made of wood and there are no pulley covers. There's just one motor powering the whole machine. Actually, not just the whole machine, the whole line, because the image on the left there is actually an almond cracking and cleaning installation from the 20s. So with just one motor, we're powering an elevator that feeds the cracking machine. We're actually powering the cracking machine as well, which has a screen shaker to size the almonds. We're powering the cracking bars that crack the almonds, and we're also powering the separator machine in front, which does the separation of the shell, the meats, and some in-shell that goes back to the cracker. So what I'm trying to convey with this slide is that even though yield and efficiency are buzzwords now, they've actually been buzzwords for Borrell for over 100 years. So it's kind of a nice image as to how the company started and how that same design criteria has continued over the years in the newer installations that we've done. This image here is of a modern shelling installation for all types of almonds. So we're not talking about just California almonds or Mediterranean almonds. It could do all types, because we're actually seeing now more and more customers around the world who are growing a mixture of California and Mediterranean almonds. So we've had to come up with technology that can handle any type of almond. And you don't have to tell the machine what you're going to shell. It figures it out, because we've got 3 different types of technology integrated into the line that differentiates what type of almonds are coming in and how we're going to crack them. So the 3 different types of technology that we've got in this particular installation are the rotary sheller for the softer shell varieties. We've got a hard shell cracker for the harder shell Mediterranean varieties as well. And when I say Mediterranean varieties, also you have some harder shell varieties here in California. You've got some Buttes, some Padres, like Missions, those types of things. And we also have the shear roll technology, which people are obviously very familiar with here in California. This line is actually installed in Azerbaijan, and the photo was taken a couple of years ago. So the first and probably one of the most emblematic machines we have at Borrell is the hard shell cracker. So this machine is designed to be as efficient as possible in a very small footprint, using just 2 motors. One motor powers the shaker deck, where we're doing all the screening, where we screen each almond one by one individually. Then we have the cracking bars underneath, which is where we're cracking each almond one by one individually as well. And when we crack the almonds, what we try to do is we try to apply the pressure on the seam of the almonds so that when you crack them, they pop open and we have 2 half shells plus the kernel. The advantage of cracking like that means that the mechanical cleaning and separation afterwards is real easy. We're not smashing the almonds into 1,000 pieces, which is more problematic, and more importantly, we're not doing any damage to the kernel either. So it's a gentle, precise, efficient system that we're offering here. These hard shell crackers have got bigger as well as the years have progressed. The customers have got bigger, the orchards have got bigger, the capacities of the lines have got bigger as well. So the older machines would have had like 8 or 10 cracking bars. The new ones actually have 18. And what we've done is we've extended the cracking bars in the center of the machine, where we have more of the sizes and a higher percentage of the almonds coming in. And so we're actually able to be more efficient with this design, because we can crack a higher percentage and a higher capacity of almonds. So that's another example of how we've made these machines more powerful, more efficient. This is a snapshot of the rotary sheller. It looks like a pretty rudimentary system, and to some extent it is, because really what we're doing is we're cracking the almonds using friction in the gentlest way possible. But it's like, you've got a cinema with 1,000 people and you open a couple of the emergency doors and everybody runs out and rubs against each other. That's how we crack the almonds. They're trying to escape through these bars, and using friction and using the right amount of volume, using a variable frequency drive on the shelling shaft. That's how we're able to crack with a lot of precision, minimum chip and scratch, and it's a very, very efficient system. The shear roll, pretty much anyone who lives and works in California is familiar with this machine. This is actually a machine that came later in life to the Borrell fold or portfolio of shelling technology. It was something that we saw was necessary to add to the other 2 technologies that we're already using. And I guess the difference between Borrell and some of our other competitors and manufacturers is how we use the shear roll within our hulling and shelling operation. We're using it, and this photo here is a good example. We're using it together with our separator machine. So basically, we go into the shear roll, then we go into an elevator, then we go into our separator grader. And that separator, what it does is, in one single unit, we have screens to separate the hull or the shell and the kernel. When it gets to the end of those screens, we have 3 independent aspirators to remove any of the loose shell or the loose hull. And we basically have 2 sizes of meats coming off that deck, plus the in-shell that hasn't been cracked that goes on to the next shear roll. So it's a very, very efficient way of hulling and shelling almonds with a minimum amount of chip and scratch. It's not a violent machine. It's pretty gentle, really, in how it operates. And we're minimizing how many machines the meats are going through before they get out of the system and go to the gravity table at the end, and then the optical sorter. We've got this technology working in different countries right now, and we're actually doing a decent size installation in Australia next year. This image shows the smart sorter, which is a fundamental part of our hulling and shelling lines. And really, I think it's the culmination of knowledge in how Borrell has designed and manufactured equipment for almonds, because it really is a very, very efficient way of cleaning almonds, especially the softer shell varieties, because it works by density. So it's basically a PC-controlled gravity table. We have 5 fans that we can adjust. We have the screen, which is a ripple deck design with 3mm perforations, and we can control with a huge amount of accuracy the cut between the meats and the shell and maybe some in-shell. So generally speaking, and I'm not exaggerating here, it actually says sorter levels of precision on meats and hash applications. And it's almost close to an optical sorter in terms of efficiency, because generally speaking, the meats coming off this smart sorter are 99 point something clean. So really, the only other step we have after the smart sorter is the optical sorting. So typically this would come at the end of our hulling and shelling line, where we've got the shear rolls, then the separators, and then it comes to this machine. We've also got a scalping deck where we can scalp off any splits, but basically it's a very high precision, high efficiency machine. Okay, here I really want to emphasize the direct flow of the huller-sheller designs that we do. When I say direct flow, what we're trying to achieve is getting the meats in and out of the line as quick as possible. So we've got the clean in-shell coming in, or the in-hull product, and really the design criteria behind all of our hulling and shelling installations are to get the meats out as quick as possible. We want to get those meats going through as fewer machines as possible. As soon as we crack them out, we want to take them out of the line, put them through the optical sorter, and then you're done. What we don't want is for them to be going through limitless amounts of augers, elevators, cleaning decks, gravity tables, etc., etc., etc. We want to be as efficient and as quick as possible. And I think we've achieved that. In the latest designs that we've presented to the industry and the results that we're seeing, we've actually achieved that. Fewer machines with less screening and aspiration equals higher yield. And a lot of our customers have said to us, especially over the last 2-3 years as we've developed this design, they've said, you're selling less machines, you're selling fewer machines, you're actually got a smaller budget, a higher capacity, and a smaller footprint, and a smaller installed power. And I say, yeah. They say, well, isn't that actually bad for business because you're selling fewer machines? And of course, it's not. It's good for business because we're selling a better package, we're selling a better solution. And for the long-term customers who have been Borrell clients for 2, 3, 4 generations, they've seen those changes, they've witnessed those changes, and they appreciate that as well. Very often we're taking out lines that we installed in the 1980s or the 1990s, and we're replacing them with fewer machines, fewer power consumption, easier control with just one operator, and we've got a way higher capacity as well. At the end here, I've made a note of, we only have 3 outfeeds from our hulling and shelling line. That might seem like an obvious thing to say, but what I'm trying to get at here is that we've got clean shell and dust, which is 99 point something % clean. That obviously goes straight out of doors. We then have 99% clean meats. So we've done as good a job as we possibly can mechanically. So then we go to the optical sorters. We partner with Tomra for the optical sorting lines in Spain and Portugal, and we also have a partnership with them in other parts of the world. And really, I'd just like to mention that the latest incarnation of them, the 5C, has been a game changer really in the industry for us, because we've managed to not just achieve fantastically good results in terms of foreign material and mechanical damage and quality defects. We've also got a remarkably low false reject. I think that's probably been the biggest change in the last 18, 24 months in terms of limiting how much good product we're kicking out with the rejects. Because, you know, even for the smaller size hullers and shellers that we're doing around the world, for maybe 3, 4, 5 million meat pounds a year, just a 1% or a 0.5% or a 1.5% difference in yield, it all adds up. It makes a big difference. And obviously, because of the economy of scale here in California, that 0.5% means a big difference to the bottom line. With this slide, I'd like to present almond blanch, and they're our partner when it comes to drying the almonds. That can be either in hull or in shell. And almond blanch have been in the industry for many years now. They design their dryers specifically for almonds. They've had a lot of experience in Australia, where they very often have rains during the harvest period. Here in California too, we've installed 2 very big units up in Orland. We've also got a smaller dryer down in Bakersfield, and they're both doing a fantastic job on cleaning the incoming in-hull, drying the incoming in-hull almonds. Now, you might be thinking, okay, why do I need a dryer, and how that's affecting greater efficiency and yield? Well, the efficiency of the machinery obviously is going to be improved if you have a homogeneous dry product. If you don't, then the product's not going to flow freely through the huller sheller. It's not going to go through the hullers. It's not going to go through the pre-cleaners. You're going to have issues. At the end of the line, you're going to have non-even moisture levels of the meats. So if you're then putting that product into storage, it means you're going to have losses at the end of the season, because you're going to have more mold, you're going to have rotten, etc., etc. So this really takes you back to the beginning of the process, and it's just a way of guaranteeing that if your almonds are coming in wet from the field, it's a way of it's an insurance policy basically, that you're going to have a dry product that you're going to be able to handle and process, and in a few months' time you're not going to have issues with mold or dark almonds. One other thing as well that I'd like to mention about almond blanch when it comes to efficiency, they really are very efficient dryers. Because they've got 2 big burners here, they can run on LPG or natural gas. When we're drying the almonds coming in from the fields, you know, if we're in August and the ambient temperature is pretty high, relatively low relative humidity, then you don't even have to switch on the burners. You can just dry with ambient air, because the centrifugal fans that these dryers use are huge. The amount of volume of air that they're moving is massive. So we can actually dry more naturally at a lower temperature, which I think is beneficial as well to the end quality of your product. But if you really do need to switch on the burners, then you've got 1 or 2 burners that you can whack on and get drying. And you can drop up to 6% moisture in a single run as well. So they really are very efficient. As I say, they've made a big impact in Australia, and the units that we've sold here in California are performing very, very well. We also have units working in Spain and Portugal with terrific results. The blanching lines that we've been manufacturing for many years now. This is an image of one of the sort of mid-size lines for 4,000 and a bit pounds per hour. In terms of efficiency, I think we're more efficient than some of our competitors because we use less water. Water, obviously, especially here in California, it's an important commodity. Everybody's trying to use as less water as possible. We recycle some of the water in the pre-cleaning process as well, using the only destoner, so we're not just using it and then chucking it out and putting it down the drain. Also, the drying process for the blanching, we use these dryers, either a single pass dryer or a multi-pass 6-stage dryer. And on some of these dryers, what we're using is an economizer feature, whereby we actually take the warm air or the hot air that we're using to dry, and we recycle that back into the dryer. A small percentage of it, obviously, because you have a little bit of moist air that's come off the almonds. So these economizer features actually enable the customer to say to the gas supplier like PG&E and say, look, we've got this technology, we're using it, we're using less gas, and they actually get a reduced gas rate because they can prove that they're using this technology. Ultrafine flour machines, it's another important machine in the Borrell portfolio. It's become more and more popular as well because of the requirement for ultrafine flour for the almond paste and almond milk. Why is it more efficient? Well, it's more efficient because 100% of what we're producing with these new flour machines is ultrafine, 100%. Always before, when we were using stone rollers, we'd have maybe 20-30% that wasn't ultrafine that had to go back into the system. We'd have more product being buttered up, and so you'd be losing some of the yield. So actually the technology is getting a higher yield just because of how efficient it is and how much ultrafine flour we're using. Have I used up all my 20 minutes? That went by quick. I'll finish off. Okay, if the centrist slicer was a heavyweight boxer, it would be the undisputed champion of the world, because really this machine has just turned the industry on its head in terms of capacity, yield, ease of operation, and efficiency. We're knocking the ball out the park when it comes to efficiency. We're getting in excess of 90% perfect slices on this machine, on blanched products, on natural product. It really has been a game changer. We've been selling this machine now for several years. All of the top players in the industry are using this machine here in California, back in Europe as well. It's been a very, very, very successful machine. And we work with FAM, and we're very thankful for the effort and that they put in with this unit. Okay, the last thing on this presentation, PLC control systems. Everyone's familiar with this type of system. How does it actually achieve greater efficiency? Well, one of the ways we achieve greater efficiency is making sure that the line's operating all the time. And if you have a PLC line and you have various level sensors and some other types of sensors all the way through the product process journey, and you use buffer hoppers and you design the lines correctly, you're going to get a lot of uptime, minimum downtime. You can control the lines, you don't have product spillage, and it may sound something that's very obvious, but actually it's a very real issue with a lot of the lines that I've visited around the world. PLC control and designing it right gives you a lot more flexibility, and it does improve the yield. Okay, thank you for your attention. Just before we put on our 30-second Christmas video, I'd like to say we have some people here in the audience. We have Jose Roig Borrell, who is the CEO of Borrell USA, and he's also the managing director of Jose Borrell back in Spain. Back in September this year, he chose to come over to live in California with his wife and his daughter. So he's a permanent fixture here now in California, really with the sole intention to build up the company and get us where we should be in today's market here in California. And it's a level of how sincere and how keen we are to really drive Borrell and give better service to our customers. We also have Alda and Giovanni as well, who are new recruits. We've also got some other new people. So it's exciting for us. I know right now the almond industry is not in the best place it's ever been, but now's the time really that we want to make an impact here and really bring our technology, expertise, and try and help out as much as we can in the industry here in California. Okay, could you put the little video on, please?